Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to open the meeting of the policy, of the policy committee meeting this morning, and Friday, May 18th, 2012. And I'd like to start the meeting with introductions, starting with my immediate right. We have
Cynthia Copeland, Strafford Regional Planning.
Katie Davis, Strafford Regional Planning.
Paul Lockwood, New Hampshire DES.
Ken Ortman, City of Rochester.
Sandy Keene, City of Rochester. Regional Planning.
Brad Nichols, Coast, next to whatever.
Yeah.
Mark Ambrosi, Strafford Regional Planning.
Dan Camara, Strafford Regional Planning.
Marilyn Barton, Strafford Regional Planning.
Brian Tapscott, City of Somersworth.
Bill Connor, City of Somersworth, new member.
Ed Comeau, Brookfield.
Victoria Parley, North.
before I introduce myself, I had Robert Chaffin.
Bob Chaffin, Rochester.
And Lou Vita, Strafford Regional Planning Commission and the town of Middleton. Okay, at this point I'd like to open the meeting with staff communications. Start with Cynthia.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to welcome our first of 3 interns to arrive for the summer to do all the fun field work and data collection and analysis. And as Katie introduced herself, and we'll be joined by Nick and Zach, who I think you all remember they did the presentation last summer. And Nick is graduating tomorrow from UNH, and Zach is in his senior year, coming up on his senior year. And so Nick will be starting the last week of May, and Zach is starting next week. So if the weather's good on Monday, Katie's going out and doing traffic counts with Zach and learning how to do that. Well, they'll be doing culvert assessments. They'll be doing time trials. That's a new one. We're working on the access management, and we're doing the project portfolio, creating the database, which is what she's working on right now. And if we get all of that done, we'll be doing sidewalks and pedestrian inventory. So we're really excited about having two-person teams, 4 people working. Greg will be working with Katie. And the other news is that Greg Jones and his wife Lindsay had a baby on Wednesday, Madison, and she's 7 pounds plus, and we've all seen, there she is, it's a girl. So there she is, and we all welcome Greg's new daughter, Madison, and we're very excited and happy for all of them. So that's my news.
Watch out for ticks.
Thank you, Cynthia. Right, Marilyn?
I just wanted to remind everyone that our upcoming annual meeting is on May 31st. It's going to be at the 3 Chimneys Inn, and it's a little different this year in that we're having it for lunch rather than dinner like we've always typically done. If you are still interested in coming and haven't gotten a hold of me, please send me an email and let me know. So I need to get the head count in next week, preferably Monday or Tuesday if you could let me know. It should be really good. We have a fantastic speaker featured, Rebecca Rule, and we're all looking forward to it and hope to see you there.
Thank you. Okay, and these dinners have been extremely interesting. Now we're having a luncheon. I have no reason to believe it won't be as interesting, so we hope to see you all there. With that little plug, we'll move on to item 3, which is we'd like to open the public hearing to solicit comments on the STIP amendment number 5, which you will have a copy of, I believe. If you other copies of it?
Yes, there are.
Well, I review my material in advance.
You're good with that, huh? Okay. STIP amendment number 5, and let's see. I guess it looks like Mark is here to speak about it. Mark?
All right, thank you, Lou. We've gone over TIP amendment number 5. I think we reviewed it last month, but I will go through the projects once again. Earlier this month at our TAC meeting, the TAC committee made a recommendation to the policy committee to approve the changes in amendment number 5. There were a number of comments we did receive. Steve Pesci and Jim Campbell both requested additional information on Phase A of the Durham Newmarket Bike Shoulders project, which has been pushed out another year, unfortunately. It's going on its 15th year right now of sitting on the TIP, our Transportation Improvement Program, and I did inquire about the project. I talked to the project manager, Ron Grand Mason, about the status of the project, and he informed me that because DOT's design department is so shorthanded right now, they are going out to hire a consultant, and they're getting that approved by the Executive Council in New Hampshire shortly, so that they can have somebody do final design for this project. And they hope to have the right-of-way issues, the contract set up with the consultant, and the project started as soon as possible, but he did not give me a timeline. So it does not look like they will be advertising in September of 2012. But we're still looking forward to this project moving ahead sometime soon. We reminded him that it is our region's top priority, as we voted last year for the 10-year plan recommendations. So we're still pushing it, and we're really hoping to get this project moving ahead. The other projects of note, the Newmarket Bike Shoulders project from Newmarket South on 108 to Newfields was a CMAQ project initiated by, or originally sponsored by District 6. They were going to be paying the matching 20% on this project to expand the bike shoulders from Newmarket to Newfields. Newmarket is not quite ready to act on this project yet, so it's being pushed out to 2014 for construction. Construction funding for the Newmarket Skybridge project is moving out to fiscal year 2014. This was an accounting move by New Hampshire DOT to make sure that their state transportation improvement program was financially constrained. Nick Alexander assured me that if this project does move faster than anticipated, that funding will be made available to get the project moving ahead, so it won't have to actually be delayed. This is more of a technical thing so that we can remain financially constrained. The other project of note is the Somersworth-Berwick Route 9 Bridge Rehab. This project, the funding has been increased to a little over $2 million from $800,000 or $850,000. I think New Hampshire DOT recognized it's important to bring the elevation of the bottom girders of the bridge up a little bit because of the flood concerns. I think that's a really good idea, and I think they're also going to be taking into account the historic downtowns in both Somersworth and Berwick. Both communities are doing rehabilitation on their downtowns, and they're making them more livable and walkable, so I think the bridge is going to have some elements to kind of enhance the character of both downtowns. So those are the major projects in this amendment. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to talk them over.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, normally about this time, you'd see Coast submitting amendments relative to what our federal allocation had been finalized at. Since there's only 9/12ths released at this point, and we haven't even seen exactly what that 9/12ths amounts to, we're not in here as you would typically expect. Given that funding overall is lower than it was listed at, that means we aren't going to be in any jam, but that has other effects.
So to clarify that, Rod, this is the last amendment in this TIP. So the next process will be approval of the next 4-year TIP. Is that going to work for you?
Yeah, that'll be fine for us.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any further comment? Okay, I'd like to close the public hearing on STIP Amendment number 5 and move on to action items. I believe we'll have either a hard copy or a received electronic copy of the minutes of MPO minutes of April 20th, 2012, and a motion would be in order to accept.
So move.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion on the minutes of April 20th, 2012. Seeing that there's no discussion, all those in favor of approval of the minutes of MPO minutes of April 20th, 2012, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and the motion carries. You what?
Absolutely opposed.
Okay.
No, I wasn't.
All right, that's great. Okay, moving on to approval of...
I would abstain too, I wasn't here.
Understood. Let the minutes show that, let's see, is it Bill again?
Bill Connor.
Bill Connor, and, name again, please?
Victoria Parmalee.
Abstained since they were not here for the previous MPO meeting. Okay, moving right along to STIP Amendment number 5, which we just concluded a public hearing on. A motion will be in order to approve that amendment.
So moved.
Motion is made, is there a
Second.
second? Motion made and seconded. Discussion, please. Clarifications, omissions, additions? Hearing no further comment, all those in favor of approving STIP Amendment number 5, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and the amendment is approved as submitted. Okay, moving right along to discussion item number 5. Okay, Dan, we have a review of the Intelligent Transportation System Strategic Plan.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Lou. All right, the ITS saga continues. Guess a brief recap for those who might not have been involved with the past 4 meetings or so. We are currently working to update our Regional Intelligent Transportation Systems Plan and Architecture. It's a shared plan with the Rockingham region. So it covers our entire planning region as well as Rockingham's region. And it basically sets up the coordination framework and ITS projects for the 2 combined regions. So, and again, ITS are meant to improve safety and improve efficiency primarily on our road network. Okay. So here's just a quick graphic here showing where we are in the process right here. We just had, let me use the laser here. We just had this meeting yesterday, our stakeholder review meeting, which was, I guess, better attended than the last meeting. There were about 12 people there or so. So we had some pretty good discussion going over both the draft architecture and draft strategic plan. So I guess we'll just move forward here. Again, just a quick recap. It's covering our planning region, the Strafford planning region, and also the Rockingham planning region with a 10-year horizon. All right. Now back in the original working advisory group meetings and the original stakeholder meeting, we identified some regional transportation needs. I thought it'd be worth sort of revisiting these needs that we identified. Pretty broad level needs. Traffic management was a big one. Of course, incident and emergency management, transit management and coordination, traveler information systems and services, like a lot of the signs on 16 and 95 you've been seeing pop up. A new one that we identified this time around, economic development. Now, it's not really something that ITS can directly help out, but it's sort of indirectly. If you have a more efficient transportation system, you're going to help out mobility and flow to these economic centers. So it is something we wanted to call out as a need, but again, it's tough for ITS to really directly help out with this effort. Data information and sharing, infrastructure maintenance and preservation, and again, another one that's tough to address with ITS, but we wanted to call it out is limited transportation funding. So, Ken?
And would there be any value to, under either the transit management and coordination category or the economic development category, to refer specifically to multimodal, so it's clear that we're talking about aviation, we're talking about nautical kinds of things, we're talking about rail, all of that stuff, as opposed to just what we have?
Yes, we do, and it doesn't actually say it in these bullets right here, but you'll see when we go over the projects in another minute or two, it's actually called multimodal. So it is called out. It's not in these bullets right here, but yes, I can make that note for when we put this final list together. We can just.
I just think the more frequently we talk about the fact that there's got to be these connections.
Sure.
For businesses,
Absolutely.
as well as for residents, that just having one piece gets you a certain distance, but if you have the multimodal, you can do a lot more.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's see. Okay, so those were the needs that we identified. Now jumping right into some of the updates that were made for the draft architecture. And again, the architecture is meant to set up that list of stakeholders, set up the coordination framework so that all these stakeholders are staying in communication and they're aware of the systems that might be being planned or going into place. So some of the new stakeholders that we identified or just a few new communities, both in the Rockingham region, Kingston and Plastow. Fast Trans has been deleted, and just some minor changes, updating names and definitions, and just some spelling and things like that. One other stakeholder that was identified yesterday was Flightline, which is going to be the bus company that's going to be taking over that east-west, or not taking over, but starting that east-west service from, I believe is it Portsmouth or Exeter?
I think it's Portsmouth.
Portsmouth to Manchester. Yeah. Portsmouth to Manchester, and also serving the Manchester airport. So not in our region, but important nonetheless. The maintenance plan for the architecture, this basically lays out how often we should revisit this plan, how to go about modifying it. But basically this go around, we didn't see any big changes that need to be made into the maintenance plan. We wanted to keep stressing that this is a living body of work that should be revisited every so often, and also that interim or intermediate modifications can be made throughout the process. So say if something is not particularly called out in this plan, but we need it to be called out in order for it to get federal funding, we can go through a process where we can add in a project or some type of high level project that will allow for that project to move forward, project. And again, we're sticking with the same time period that we chose originally in the 2008 plan to revisit it every 4 years. And we're hoping with the approach we took this time around that we won't have to do a complete assessment from the ground up like we did this time. We've sort of taken a step back and rather than identify individual projects, we've tried to take more of a corridor approach and a higher approach so that we're still including the information that we need, but we're not being too precise where we need to go in and edit things and change things. And so we're hoping with this approach that we're covering our bases for a longer period of time, basically. And what was also brought up this time around is to possibly get a regional ITS coordination committee together. Not something that meets too often, maybe once a year, where we just get together, maybe talk about some ITS plans, or projects that a community or an agency might want to be pushing forward, make sure that they're in that plan, and just improving coordination. And that's really the key to this whole effort here, is just make sure that everybody's on board with what other stakeholders are doing, and know that everybody's technologies can be communicating with each other. That's really the big push for this effort. We want to get the most out of our money, basically. So I think that's it for the architecture. There really wasn't too much updated with the architecture. So diving into the meat of the update, the strategic plan. The strategic plan really lays out all of the projects that we're looking to implement. Let's see. Let's see how to look at this. These were the ITS opportunities that we came up with during the working advisory group, and they really haven't changed much since then. Basically, again, we've chosen to go with this more of a corridor approach, where we chose some corridors that could possibly see these systems be put in place over that next 10-year horizon. That's important to keep in mind, because we don't want to make this a wish list where we want to throw everything in the plan. We want it to be what we see moving ahead in the next 10 years. Of course, communications infrastructure, we can't have those systems in place without the communications backbones. Video sharing, transit signal coordination, there should be traffic signal coordination, and this is transit signal priority. Real-time traveler information systems for both traffic and transit. Emergency management coordination, parking management, and of course, being able to share this data is very important. So again, those haven't changed much since the original working advisory group.
Ken, you kind of went back and talked about transit signal coordination. Is that supposed to be traffic or
Yep,
transit?
yeah, this is supposed to be traffic.
Okay, it's just
yeah, yep, yeah, that was just a
okay.
minor.
Just want to make sure. Thank you.
Yep. All right, here's just a little breakdown of the different types of projects that we identified, and here's what I was talking about, Ken, the multimodal. This is one part where it's mentioned, but you'll see moving forward that it's also mentioned again. But the big category was traffic management, and then let's see, transit management. A couple of these have shifted around. We did make some changes to some of the projects yesterday, so these numbers aren't quite up to date, but they're very close. So there's just a quick breakdown of the different types of projects that we've identified. All right, now digging into the different categories. Traffic management, again, this was the biggest one. Signal coordination and maintenance study, just to basically assess which signals are coordinated, where they might not be coordinated. Route 4, this isn't State Route 4 in Rollinsford and Dover. This is U.S. Route 4. I just want to make that distinction there. And basically, this is that corridor level approach that we took. These were the corridors that we've identified. We talked about Route 108 yesterday too. Route 108 is going to be added to this, in addition to these 4 corridors listed here. This is just that broad level signal coordination, dynamic message signs, closed circuit TV cameras, just to help out with mobility and information dissemination. made the change to Route 101. Of course, there are no signals on Route 101, so we're going to get rid of that signal coordination for Route 101. And then just a feasibility assessment down here to see if it's feasible to expand open road tolling to areas like Rochester and Dover. Yep. Bill?
Route 236, is that considered at all? It's state highway coming through Somersworth.
Yeah, well, see, that kind of falls into the realm of timing. So again, this is a 10-year plan. So we're trying to identify those larger commuter routes, things like 4, 125, Route 108. You know, there are certainly other roads out there that could use these systems. Route 11, 152. You can make the case for a lot of these roads, but
Is 236 actually in our, I mean, did 236 come into New Hampshire, or is that just a main?
I think it's a main route.
It's me.
Dan,
We
we did add 9.
Yeah, I think 9 was at those.
Yeah, we added 9 yesterday.
we did add 9
including-
yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Just the Summersworth portion, I think.
Yeah, we
was,
talked about Indian Brook Drive and High Street.
All the way from exit 9 out.
Yeah, so it would be, I don't want to say all of Route 9,
No,
because that would be Barrington, Strafford.
exit 9 over into Berwick.
Yes, yep. So again, it's that 10-year horizon that you want to keep in mind. It's
I just want to be sure about Route 4. It's just the portion from, say, Durham West. Is that covered at all?
yes, yeah, it would be from, in our region, Northwood through
Okay.
Durham.
So is
Yep.
that under TM2? Is that there, or is that something other?
Yes,
Okay.
TM2, yep, exactly. Yep.
Right.
That's the US portion of Route 4. It's a federal route.
Okay, I just wasn't clear because it said Dover and Rollinsford.
Yes, that was a change. Yeah, you're looking at the handout that we had. Yes, yeah, that's something that we made note of yesterday. We're going to change that. Yep.
So Rollinsford was dropped yesterday, and the rest of US Route 4 was added.
Yes, and in here it just says Route 4, Dover and Rollinsford, but actually Dover and Rollinsford are gone. I think what we said yesterday, it's going to be Northwood to Durham or Durham to Northwood. So it'll be all of US 4.
Dan? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just was there any discussion about a centralized, I don't know if we're quite there yet, the centralized system to do the signal coordination between signals so that we don't have to go back and do the same level of maintenance on the signals?
I think that would be part of the coordination study.
Okay.
So indirectly, I guess you could say, nothing called out specifically for that, but yeah, I think, my understanding is that would be covered under the study.
Just a question on the handout here. This would be the May 2nd. Oops, they both are the same. Okay, this would be the on the first page on here, updated stakeholders list.
Okay.
Okay, if you go to the rear of the document, we're looking at a series of tables that have a 2008 element name, 2008 element description.
Okay.
Can you explain 2008 rather than, is that the?
Sure. That table that you're referring to is basically a crosswalk, really. It shows how those elements, each row, what it was in 2008 in the original plan, and then if you look 2 columns over, it shows the 2012 update. So it basically says if that project has been completed or if it's still planned, or it's, so that's what that 2008 column, that's when we originally completed this plan.
That's what it's for. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we want to preserve or at least make note of those original projects and how they might have been implemented or still need to be implemented. So that's what that 2008 means right there.
Then maybe the stakeholder list. I don't know